Hello, everybody. It's Congressman Jamie Raskin coming out to all my friends in Maryland's beautiful 8th District and beyond. Today is Friday, January 27th, and I'm coming to you for my favorite time of the week, which is Local Hero, where we get to recognize the people that make life in the 8th District so wonderful and better all the time. I should tell you that the reason that my head is covered is because I've just finished the second of 6 chemotherapy sessions, and my wounded male vanity would not allow me to go in public without this bandana on. So I have for you today a remarkable local hero who is a public school teacher at the Rosa Parks Middle School, part-time French teacher, and she is a great public Maryland activist, and her name is Melissa Ladd, and she is the chapter leader for the Maryland chapter of Moms Demand Action for gun sense in the United States of America. And this chapter has been deeply involved doing work on violence intervention and violence prevention, uplifting and consoling survivors, educating about the safe storage of firearms and Maryland's extreme risk law, and advocating at the local level, at the state level in Annapolis, and at the federal level for gun safety and gun prevention. The chapter has more than 200 volunteer leaders and 13 local groups. And with all of the terrible news from across the country, Melissa, about massacres taking place and so many people having died already in 2023, we want to give people some hope. And you guys at Montgomery County and Maryland chapter of Moms Demand Action are bringing us a lot of hope. For that reason alone, you are our local hero this week. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here and to be chosen for this. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we do.
Now, look, let's start with what's going on at the state level, Melissa, if we could. I know you're organizing lots of people to go to Annapolis on Tuesday. I think, is there a specific legislative agenda that builds on things that have taken place over the last several years at the state level?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we have done a great job, and thanks to you, Congressman Raskin, what you built back in your time in the state legislature. We're continuing on that tradition of building strong gun laws in Maryland. This year, our legislative priorities include addressing the Supreme Court decision about concealed carry permitting and making sure that we have the strongest laws possible about that on the books. We are also working on a bill that would repeal gun industry immunity so that people do have a way to get recompense from the negligent, marketing that gun industries often do. And we also are looking at a qualified immunity repeal so that people who, have violence done against them by police officers. And then finally, strengthening our safe storage law in Maryland.
Well, that's an ambitious agenda. Of course, there's a new governor in our state, and there, I would assume, be sympathetic majorities in the House and the Senate. So thank you for mobilizing the grassroots to take it to Annapolis and to try to make all of that happen. At the federal level, as you know, Melissa, I've introduced the Handgun Permit for Purchasers Act, which is an attempt to promote handgun permits around the country, which have shown to reduce gun violence by up to 50% in the states that have adopted them. I mean, it's the same way the roads are a lot safer because we license drivers than if we just said anybody can go drive without being tested, without knowing what they're doing. But we're in a situation now where it seems like our friends on the other side of the aisle are opposed to any kind of regulation on firearms at all. And they seem to have adopted the NRA's position that, well, you can't even change things 1 inch because then that's going to lead to the confiscation of guns. And I wonder how in this difficult environment you've thought about building some common ground to make common sense reforms on things like safe gun storage or permitting that the vast majority of the American people support.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Studies show that actually huge minorities of gun owners and Americans in general support these common sense solutions. It's just there are certain lawmakers who aren't quite on board yet. But that's exactly it. We look for commonalities. Gun owners want to be responsible. They don't want guns to get into the wrong hands, whether it's a criminal or a child, and they want to keep our communities safe. So safe storage and permitting is a great way to find that commonality.
Yeah. I wonder how the community of Moms Demand Action and other allied groups has been responding to these obscene massacres that have just taken place in California, for example. And is that something that is completely demoralizing to people, or is it something that reinfuses people with a sense of purpose? Because I could see it having both effects.
Yeah, I think for survivors of gun violence, it's quite difficult when these events happen. I'm sure they trigger a lot of a lot of emotions for them. So I think it's kind of both things. We definitely see a resurgence of interest and purpose and activism because obviously, even though we've made great strides, there's still a lot more work to do because these massacres are happening. But I think we also we try to be very careful about checking in with survivors, checking in with the communities that are impacted, trying to build coalitions and supporting people as best we can in a lot of different ways. Some of them are not at all advocacy related, just showing up for people in any ways that we can think of that would be helpful.
Well, I mean, that is truly heroic work because I know that you guys don't just bewail and lament the terrible situation we're in with gun violence. You're always looking for practical ways to help people who have been victimized by gun violence, to help the families, to help the friends, to help the schools, and then to make practical changes however possible. And you are such an inspiration and a model to people for how to maintain practical hope, even in a difficult situation. So Melissa, I want to give you the last word, but you are very much our local hero this week. Thank you for organizing people, the local level, the state level, the federal level, to turn around this terrible nightmare of gun violence. And please, any final words you'd like to say?
Well, I'm just one of 10 million supporters of Moms Demand Action. So there's a place for everybody. We can all do a little part or a big part in working to end gun violence across our country.
Well, we appreciate so much your commitment. And thank you, Melissa Ladd, our local hero for January 27th. Everybody, please fill up her email box with your love and your respect for all the work she does.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor. Thank you.